A few years back, I was asked to create a heritage program at my university. I wanted something that would be engaging. I wanted something that would grasp my students' attention. And that's when I came across EduNovela. I loved it from the very beginning. So what I did was I incorporated EduNovela in my heritage courses. One of the biggest problems or fears, I guess that I would say, of my students when they're heritage speakers is the speaking part. They're very afraid to speak, whether it was because they were made fun of, because they think that they don't speak it correctly, quote unquote. So I wanted something that would motivate them, that would get them talking. And EduNovela just was 100% what I was looking for. What I did was I designed my courses around EduNovela. Classes are hybrid, so we would meet once a week. So students would get to watch, I designed it to, they would watch 3 episodes a week. They would come to the class and we would talk about it. We would discuss what happened. We would do exercises that had to go or that went along with the series. So I believe a lot, or my whole methodology is using authentic materials. And of course, this was my biggest, hit here. I doubled, tripled enrollment in my courses, so you can see that it was such a huge hit. So students would go. They did the word documents, the activities. They would do those at home. Then we would come back, meet together, and we would go over some of these things. We had activities in class, but everything revolved around that series. And the students were so motivated. They were so happy to talk about it. They were so invested in these TV series that they were just excited to talk. They forgot about whether they spoke Spanish correctly, quote unquote, or not, because they just wanted to share with me. They wanted to share with their classmates. Oh my gosh, did you see this episode? Did you see what happened? I can't wait for the next episode. So we would cover vocabulary, we would cover grammar. So I kind of supplemented on the side, but I had EduNovela as my main component because there you had your listening, you had your reading as they're reading, right? The episodes when they're speaking. You had your comprehension. They would do the little mini quizzes at the end. We had grammar in there. I mean, everything was already in there, and everything was recycled and everything revolved around the same topic and the same theme, that we were able to just keep on and expanding on that vocabulary or on that topic. And I used everything in there. I used the quizzes, the comprehension, the grammar. I used everything. And it worked out extremely well in my heritage courses. So I want to talk a little bit about how my students reacted to this new program, these new classes that I created. They loved it. They loved the classes. They loved watching. And one thing I want to point out is that my students would come and tell me that they gathered the whole family each week to watch these episodes. So it became a family event, which was extremely important for us teaching heritage students, right? Because we want them to be proud of their heritage, their culture, right? So their grandmother and their sisters, they would come and they're like, we want to watch more, we want to watch more, we want to watch more. And I said, no, we have to pace ourselves. So I could see how the students were getting that confidence. They would come to class. They said, "Oh, I spoke with my grandmother, and we were talking about they called it the novela, right, in Spanish, the novela." And they would come to class and they started speaking more Spanish, and I could see that confidence growing in them, which was one of my goals. When they would write, also, I could see they were very scared to make mistakes, and I think that happens to all of us when we're at school, right? We don't want to make mistakes, but I think the constant practice, the constant writing practice, the listening practice, as they're reading, as the characters are speaking, all of that, of course, contributed to them, their skills, of course, growing. I could see that from the when we started to the end. And the the point here is that, or the proof is that, when I would get my evaluations. Okay, so as professors, as teachers, we want our students to have loved the course right at the end of the semester. And my evaluations were the highest that they had ever been. And some of the students, some of the things that the students would tell me were, this was the best class that I've ever taken, not only in a language, but at the university itself. So that's a huge honor for me to have been able to do this for my students. They would tell me like, I'm more confident. I'm using the language more. I learned culture and history with the TV series as well. I never knew this happened, or whatever we were talking about. I could see that. I could see that, in their writing, in their speaking, in their listening. They would always come back and tell me, "Oh, now I'm watching more shows. I can't wait to see more. I can't." They were hooked, right? And that's a big part of learning a language, for them to be able to be enthusiastic about learning and not having something tedious. I'm a big advocate, like I said before, of using authentic materials and making it fun in some way, or engaging, or somehow where the students can connect to that material. And if the students see their own growth and how much they're improving and their confidence, of course, that's going to be a success for us. So those comments at the end of the semester were my biggest proof that they loved the class. They said that they're more confident, that they've never had a class like this before. They said that all Spanish and language courses should be taught this way. That the homework that they had, that they didn't even feel like it was homework, because they were so invested in the material, that it was fun for them. So for a student to tell me that the homework didn't feel like homework, of course, is a win as well. So it was a success through and through the whole semester, that we would cover it. I never got a negative review. All the students were extremely happy to have been in the class, and they wanted to keep going and to keep learning, which is also another goal of ours.